Good morning and welcome to this week's Breath Library session. There was a bit of a technical issue yesterday, so normally this will be coming to you on a Saturday morning live, but this week, just to recap and make sure that it still is there and covers the topic, then we're doing it today on Sunday morning. So today is going to be all about where do we start with breathwork? This is a question that we get asked a lot because, if people start to become a little bit curious about breath work and what to do with their breathing and creating better breathing habits, there's so much out there. There's so much to read. There's so many courses to do. So where do you start? And so we thought we'd just address that and just start to create a few breathing habits that will help you. So my name's Tom. I've been doing this channel for a while. I'm an Oxygen Advantage advanced instructor. I've been studying breathwork for a while. I've trained with some of the leading experts around the world on breathwork, and I love it. And it has been something that has changed my life. And so I'm going to use these skills, these habits that I've created to help you become better breathers. So a little bit of, a few announcements before we start into the session. Next week on Wednesday, if you are in Cardiff and you like to or prefer to join in-person events, then you can join us at Love Live Light, the Healing Hub in Pontcanna at 6:30 on Wednesday, which is the 1st of November, for a 90-minute session, a workshop really. We are going to talk about how we can use our breathing to reduce stress and anxiety. Now, this is something that we teach a lot when we go into offices, help individuals. So this session is to help those people that feel stressed or, with that lead up to Christmas as well. It is really important to learn how to, cope with stress in a way. And our breath is the first indicator that we are stressed. So that is why we're going to cover a few basic points during that session. We're going to have guided sessions. I'll be joined by Leanne as well, both of us from Beam Development and Training, and we will be helping everyone that comes along. So if you are in Cardiff or South Wales, then come along. It's going to be a really good night. It's a lovely venue as well. If you haven't been, it's all focused on healing. The best matcha in Cardiff, but they also have infrared saunas, they do yoga, pressure therapy, wonderful things. Okay, so there's something else as well that's really important to notice. We are Breath Source Masters. And what's Breath Source? Breath Source is an app that you can get on iOS or Android and download it wherever you normally do. And you can set up a free account, and there are classes, instructional videos, and it is all breathwork. So these instructors from all around the world, so some incredible instructors on there teaching lots of different disciplines about breathwork. And it's a really good place to go if you're new to breathwork, because it will help you find what you need. And your body knows what it needs when it comes to breathwork. So you'll be able to do functional breathing, which is more along the lines of what we teach. You'll be able to do traditional yogic breathing. You'll be able to do the conscious connected breathing, the circular breathing. You'll be able to learn how to use breath work for releasing trauma and lots and lots of things. I could go on and on and on. There are some incredible instructors. And if you're curious about that, you can download the app, follow the link in the description, and that'll take you right through to it. So today, it's more about where do you start. So you could download the app and you could read a few books, and it's really hard to, it's really easy to understand the first parts that you need to do when creating better breathing habits. Now you can do those exercises and you can spend half hour, 2 hours doing them, but really our breath is so much more than that. When our breathing matters when we're not in a focused exercise. So these exercises that I'm going to teach you today are all about what to do with your breath in between exercises, in between that focused moment. because we're breathing for the other 23 hours of the day. So that is what we're going to have a little look on. And the first thing that I'd like to address is how you're breathing right now. So what I'd like you to do is place one hand on your chest, right there, right in the middle, and the other just a little bit lower, so it's on your belly, just above your belly button or your abdomen, just below your ribs. And just whilst I'm talking, just take a few breaths in and out, just at a normal pace, exactly how you're doing it, however you have been breathing up until now. And just pay attention to which hand is moving. That's it. Just give you a few more seconds to pay attention. Which hand is moving? So first of all, if you found that your top hand, the one that's on your chest, is moving more, then what it indicates is that you are probably breathing through your mouth. You're breathing too fast, and you're breathing shallow. And your breathing is shallow. When we breathe here, this is an indication that we are. Our breathing is in emergency. It's in a fight or flight state. We've triggered that sympathetic nervous system. And when we are breathing here, so, we actually now was paying attention, okay, our mouths were open. But yeah, actually, our breathing was quite fast. And it was shallow. They were short breaths. So this is very, very useful if we want to run away from something, if we are in the peak of performance and we need to push it that last 10% during a physical activity. But what this does when we're breathing here is we're only using the top parts of our lungs. We're not controlling the breath. We are not we're most likely, because we're breathing through our mouths, we're not filtering the air, we're not picking up those essential gases, and it's not really where our breathing should be long term. So great in a short term, in an emergency situation. They don't happen that often, but very useful to be able to breathe through our mouths in those situations. But what we want to focus on, and I'll get you to put your hand back down here now, lower, is when we breathe through our nose. So we take a breath in, and we'll feel our belly expand. We'll feel that movement. And if we put our other hand back here when we're breathing through our nose, we'll notice that this hand doesn't move. It's just lower breathing. So this is just the lower hand that is moving. So keep doing that just for a couple of seconds. In and out through the nose. And what we're doing when we're breathing through our nose is we are filtering the air. We are taking in the right volume. Now look at the size of the openings when we're breathing through our mouth. No, you don't always breathe like that, but look at the size difference between our mouth and our nostrils. So we are adding resistance to that breath. We are filtering it. We are sending it into the nasal cavity. So we're picking up essential gases like nitric oxide. And we'll deal with that in a different session. But essentially what that does is that is a bronchodilator that helps us get a better gas exchange. And when we send that air down into the lower parts of our lungs, so, we're engaging that diaphragm that's moving. So we're drawing the air right down into the lowest part. And that means that we're getting the air that's coming in down anywhere to the highest concentration of alveoli, the air sacs. So we're getting a better gas exchange. So when we're breathing, what we do is we breathe less, but we're actually breathing more because we're getting that oxygen into our blood system that is traveling to organs, tissues, and vital parts of the body that needs it. We're not doing that as much when we're breathing up here. It still does. There is a portion of alveoli, so we can still get the gas exchange up there, but it's not the same as down in the lower lobes. So what we're going to do is just for 1 minute, what we're going to do is we're going to take some nice gentle breaths in and out through the nose. And I want you to just pay attention to how your body feels. Okay, so get nice and comfortable. And just take that breath in through the nose. Nice, slow, controlled breath. Just pay attention to how the body's moving. And then breathe out. We're not concerned about the speed or the pace right now. We're just going to focus on breathing through the nose only. So just keep going. Few breaths in and out. Focusing on that air entering the nostril and leaving it. Just take another breath in and out. Brilliant. Now, how do you feel? Do you feel calmer? Do you feel more relaxed? Do you feel like you were getting the right amount of air? Do you feel that you were properly fueled during that time? That was just 1 minute. Imagine if you did that for the other 23, 24 hours of the day when you're not focusing on your breath. This is really important. We take about 24,000 breaths every day. So pay attention. Make sure it's through the nose, not the mouth. Keep that mouth closed. My mentor once said to me, you should breathe through your mouth as often as you eat through your nose. Obviously, that's it's meant to remind you to breathe through your nose at all times. So we'll get to all times in future sessions, like exercise, sleep, really, really important times where it's a little bit out of your control, but we can still do something about it. So that is the key takeaway for today. Breathing through your nose only, making sure that that is the primary way that you breathe. We're going to get better oxygenation in the blood. We're going to be able to fuel, our organs, our tissues, our brain in a much more efficient way. And we're actually breathing less than when we are through the mouth. So there's lots of other reasons why we don't want to breathe through the mouth most of the time. It can change everything from the shape of our face, how we sleep at night, our teeth. This is it can lead to some things that we can avoid, and things like dysfunctional breathing. So the next thing, when we talk about breathing through our nose only, there is a quite a common thing that happens. Someone will stick their hand up and be like, I can't breathe through my nose. I've never been able to breathe through my nose. Well, that's unless you have a deviated septum, a broken nose, or there are sort of structural issues to the makeup of your nose, then we can. There's an exercise that we can do that will help you breathe through your nose and breathe more clearly. And what we'll do is, so this is suitable for everyone unless you're going through pregnancy. So please avoid if you are pregnant. This is because what we're doing is we're going to be creating a strong air hunger, which increases blood pressure. So it's just things that we want to avoid if we're pregnant. So, but for the rest of us with a blocked nose, or if you've not been able to breathe through your nose, then just before we do this exercise, you can do this with your phone. Just grab your phone and just put it underneath your nostril and just try and breathe out. I mean, I'm breathing pretty clearly, so you can actually see there's like a sort of a halo there. There you go. You can sort of see it. I'm sort of clearly breathing through both nostrils, but it happens to all of us where it might be one nostril is more dominant than the other. So what we can do is we can and that happens frequently, so we can balance that out. So we're clearly breathing through our nose. And we're going to do this by creating that nasal pressure, build up carbon dioxide, pooling of that in the nasal cavity along with nitric oxide, and we are going to release that. We're going to release that pressure. So what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in through our nose. If you can't breathe through your nose, just take a little sip through the side of your mouth. So we're going to breathe in, and we're going to breathe out. If you can't breathe out, again, sip through the side of your mouth. And then we're going to pinch our nose. And then we're just going to move our head from side to side, move our body just a little bit, create a higher metabolic activity. And we're going to do this all whilst holding our breath. But then when we can't hold it any longer, we're going to release and breathe in through our nose. It's important you breathe in and then out. And you're going to see a difference. I can assure you, this is one of my favorite exercises to do. So what we're going to do now, we're going to give it a go. You can do this sat down, stood up, wherever, not driving. So we're going to breathe in through our nose, breathe in and out. And pinch. That's it. We're going to move our head side to side, wherever you want to move it. Just what we're going to do is we're going to create a build-up of carbon dioxide. So we're going to keep moving until we can't hold our breath any longer. You might have already done it by now, but you can keep going for as long as you can. And then release. And breathe in through our nose. And then out. I mean, I had a really good airflow before I started, but I feel so much clearer already. And that was about 30 seconds. If that, chuck in the explanation as well. But that is something that you can very quickly use to unblock your nose. And if you can breathe through your nose for 1 minute, you can breathe through your nose for a lifetime. So, and if it didn't quite do it, you still got one, try with the phone screen again. And if one's a bit more dominant than the other, you can give that another go. You can keep repeating that until your nose is unblocked. So that is like the key thing for getting into breath work. Where do you start? And my recommendation is you start through your nose. If you can't, then unblock it, but then focus on breathing through your nose as often as possible. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. So that is the key takeaway for this session. For the next week, focus on breathing through your nose. And yeah, if you can't, unblock it. And then we will look at more things in future sessions. So tune in. It'll be every Saturday, 8:30. We are live with the Breath Library. And next week, we have an incredible guest. A little bit biased is business partner, my wife, Leanne. She will be here talking about female breathing. And this is a really important thing to cover because breathing is different for men and women. So if you're interested, if you're having problems with your cycle, perimenopause, the menopause, or there's so many different aspects that will be covered. And this is a great session. It really is eye-opening. So come along, join us for that next Saturday. That's first one in November, first Saturday in November. Female breathing with Leanne. So the other things to mention as well, if you wanted to come along to that stress and anxiety event that we're doing, then there'll be a link for that in the comments or the description rather. And you can come along to that in-person event on Wednesday. If you wanted to download the BreathSource app on your preferred device, then there'll be a link for that as well. We also do one-on-one coaching when it comes to breath work and changing our breathing habits and creating a better sort of breathing habit for ourselves. So we can help people with snoring, asthma, and other types of dysfunctional breathing. There is a link to book a free 30-minute consultation with myself. We'll go through, we will test your breathing ability right now and see what can be done. If you are having problems with your breathing or think that something can be solved by having better breathing habits, then get in touch. I'd love to chat breathing, so that will be a really great chat. Okay, well, that is it from us today, well, from me today, and I will see you next Saturday, 8:30 for the next live Breath Library. If you hear it on YouTube, that's great, but it's also at the same time on Facebook. So head to Beam Development and Training, and you will find us there as well, live every Saturday, along with lots of other great content. Have a great week.